Have you heard the rumor that it's illegal to die here?
I have heard that rumor. I can see why up here. It's not a place where they would want burials. The bodies are preserved forever, essentially. So that could create all sorts of problems. Bodies popping up out of the ground would be a little bit strange.
Have you ever wondered if the right to die is a legal right? Well, in a bone-chilling cold village in Norway, nestled in the Arctic Circle, it's not just a question, it's a law. Yes, we're about to explore the curious case of a place where death is forbidden, and every day your motto will be the name of a James Bond movie, Die Tomorrow. Let's unfold the mystery of a place where one cannot die. Some remote areas of the world have laws against dying for a number of reasons, such as a lack of graveyard space or harsh weather that makes matters worse. There is a strange yet severe law that residents of one of the northernmost places on Earth must follow. Dying is not permitted. The remote village of Longyearbyen is situated in Svalbard, a Norwegian archipelago between mainland Norway and the North Pole. Death has been forbidden here for the past 70 years or so. It's one of the oldest locations with wintertime temperature dropping by 20 to 30 degrees Celsius, and many days of total darkness for the natives. On the other hand, during the summer they experience non-stop daylight. However, because of their icy climate, corpses are not decomposing in the freezing temperatures. With 2,000 occupants, most of them coal miners, the residents became concerned about diseases spreading when they noticed that the remains of the dead weren't decomposing.
I don't think I'm allowed to be buried here.
Why not?
Because the permafrost, and you will come up and say hello again after about 10 years.
This became especially problematic when Spanish flu was detected recently from bodies buried a century ago. 11 of the buried bodies tested positive for the deadly 1918 influenza. When scientists unearthed some of the graves in the 1990s to investigate this matter.
The cemetery here is very special because there is tundra here. You can't dig very deep here. So when there was a big pandemic in 1918, they had to bury people here, but how?
Even if it is legally banned to bury people in Longyearbyen, it's against the law of nature, right? People can fall terminally ill and die. So what happens to those who fall severely ill? People who fall ill in this remote area are taken to the Norwegian mainland to see out their final days because the dead cannot be buried here as they will stay frozen for years, increasing the number of microbiomes and the risk of infectious diseases. Locals are particularly concerned about climate change, which could lead to the virus spreading again if the permafrost thaws. Any ground that stays fully frozen, minus 32 degrees Fahrenheit or 0 degrees Celsius or lower, for at least 2 years in a row is known as permafrost. The areas with the high mountains and the higher latitudes on Earth, close to the North and South Poles, are home to the majority of these permanently frozen grounds. The reason for their concern is that the permanently frozen ground will not only tend to keep your buried remains from decomposing and push them to the surface, it may also perfectly preserve the disease that killed you for the locals to pick it up later.
Local authorities are aware of the risk and have taken measures in the archipelago of Svalbard. People say it's illegal to die in Longyearbyen. In reality, it's illegal to be buried here and has been since the 1950s.
For some people it can be quite tough. It's not the easiest thing to accept that they can't be buried here. I recognize it, but then again, that's the framework and everybody knows about it when they arrive here in Svalbard.
The severely ill have to leave the island and spend the remainder of their lives in Norway, even though cremation urns are permitted to be buried there. However, few people have chosen this option. The presence of polar bears also makes the area a dangerous place to live, while living in extreme temperatures can also be an irritating battle for families. The Arctic days last between March and October, but it never gets very warm, and people wear thick, tight-zipped coats. Looking out towards Longyearbyen Bay, we can see that Ice Fjord, as it is known, has stopped being icy. As we mentioned earlier, the permafrost is melting to release more methane gas into the atmosphere, further worsening global warming and causing more permafrost to melt.
There are sort of all of these feedback loops in the Arctic which work together in a sense. And so climate change is important for permafrost settings because there's a fair bit of organic material which is incorporated into the permafrost. And so if this organic material is to thaw due to changes in permafrost temperature, then it suddenly becomes available for these sort of microbes and things which are living in the soil to act on and produce greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide or methane. So from the climate change perspective, it's a problem.
Do you know that this northernmost place on the Earth is the location of the Arctic Seed Vault? The Arctic may not be the first place that comes to mind when you think of fresh food and grain fields, but the Global Seed Vault, located about 800 miles from the North Pole, is home to emergency supplies of most of the world's crops. It gives scientists the resources they need to create plants that can adapt to a changing environment. It's also known as the ultimate insurance policy and is sometimes referred to as the Doomsday Vault. It is the world's most diverse collection of food crop seeds, buried deep within a mountainside near the Arctic Circle. 2017 saw the breach of the Global Seed Vault, which is tucked away in a mountain far beyond the Arctic Circle, as a result of unusually warm winter temperatures that allowed melting water to flood the access tunnel. Instead of light snow falling, the Arctic's high temperatures caused melting and torrential downpour. Global warming is not their only concern. The people of Longyearbyen also worry about the lack of important professionals like physicians. This community has no facilities to take care for the old or frail, hence perhaps its entrenched fear of death. However, although there is no older adults' home, there is a kindergarten. So, as you can see, there are many places like Longyearbyen where people live strange lives, which invoke a sense of fear and empathy. This is not a place people spend their entire lives, or where families are continued through generations. A Longyearbyen website says, "People have generally come and gone. The history of Svalbard is rich in tragic events, and graves are the most common relics of culture." So, what do you think of this place? Comment down. And that's a wrap for now. We hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please show your support by giving a like and sharing and subscribing. Remember, by subscribing to our channel, you're joining a community of people interested in amazing content like this. See you in the next video. Bye.